Hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday Reading. Today, we are learning about a brand new animal called a salamander. What do you already know about salamanders? Take a couple minutes to think about some facts you know about salamanders. Maybe you've seen them before, maybe you've touched them before. What do they feel like? What do they look like? Today we're going to learn about salamanders and then fill out the chart we've been using for all of our animals. So when we're reading today, I want you to think of three big questions. How do scientists classify this animal? What group do they put it in? What adaptations does this animal have? And what is unique or special about this animal? So think about those questions as we read. This is going to be a nonfiction story that teaches us facts about salamanders. Oh, Eddie wants to join us, I guess. All right, a salamander's life. In spring, a salamander lays her eggs in a pond. A red-spotted newt watches the first larva break free. The salamander larva catches and eats a copepod. A giant water bug would like to eat the salamander larva, but misses. So I noticed going back to these couple of pages, some tricky some tricky vocabulary words. And I noticed that these words are written differently in italics like this, copepod. So if I wanted to know what this word meant, where would I go? Has anybody ever heard of the word glossary before? A glossary is part of a book that teaches us what new words mean. So I'm going to go find the glossary in our book and see if we can figure out what that word copepod means. The glossary is at the end of the book. Here we go. Words you know. Copepod, here. A tiny animal found in many ponds, lakes, and the ocean. It is related to lobsters and crabs. Okay, I now have a picture of what a copepod looks like. It looks like maybe like a small lobster or crab. So let me go back and see if it helps me understand the story better. Here we go. The salamander larva catches and eats a copepod. Oh, now that I'm looking at the picture, I see that this down here must be the copepod because it looks like a small lobster or a small crab to me. And it's something that the salamander larva eats. Nice. Okay, let's keep reading. We can use the glossary if we come across any other words we don't know. A giant water bug would like to eat the salamander larva, but misses. Soon, the salamander grows hind legs. The salamander must swim to the surface for air. At the end of summer, the young salamander leaves her pond. So what have we learned about salamanders so far? I've learned a couple of really important facts. Let's go back. So the salamander starts as an egg in a pond. Then it grows into a larva here. Next, we found out that it grew hind legs. Here you can start to see those little legs are forming. And finally, it comes to the surface, the top of the pond, and it leaves the pond to start its life. Okay, let's keep reading, see what else we learn. She hunts for insects at the edge of the pond. As a salamander grows, she moves farther into the woods. A milk snake grabs the salamander. Then, let's go. Salamanders have bad tasting skin. The salamander catches an earwig under the leaves. As it grows cold, the salamander looks for a burrow. A deer mouse watches. I see that the word burrow and deer mouse are also in italics, so I could go to my glossary and figure out what those words mean. The salamander sleeps through the cold winter. A rainy spring evening wakes the salamander. It wakes thousands of salamanders. So what information about salamanders did we learn on these pages? We learned something important here. What happens in the wintertime? Salamanders hibernate through the cold winter. So they sleep through the cold winter. Yep. And the water, the rain, usually wakes them up in the spring so that they are no longer hibernating. So when an animal sleeps all winter, it's called hibernation. It wakes frogs too. A bright light falls on the salamander. Gentle, curious hands lift her, then put her back down. The frogs and salamanders return to the pond. A salamander swims through the water looking for a male. At last she finds a mate. Now the salamander lays eggs of her own. She begins the journey back to the woods. Summer night after summer night, the salamander hunts. Winter cold after winter cold, the salamander sleeps. And every first warm, rainy evening of spring, she wakes again. And here we have back to our glossary and a little bit about the author. So today as a class, we are going to fill out this chart to answer our big questions about salamanders. How do scientists classify this animal? What adaptations does this animal have? What parts of the body help it survive? And what is unique or special about this animal? So I hope you had those questions in your brain as we were reading. You can check Class Dojo to see our completed chart. And you can use this chart to do your Class Dojo work today. Your work today is to write with pencil and paper, what are some important facts about salamanders that you learned in this book? Try to give us at least 2 facts that you learned about salamanders today. You can use our chart on our class story to help you end this video. All right, we'll see you later.